Hey everybody, today's video will only be available on the Volksgeist stem player. For 2 easy payments, you get access to not only the left channel of the audio, but you'll also get your own stem player Volksgeist NFT included completely for free. This video is brought to you by Skillshare, where my first ever class on animating with After Effects is now available. The first 1,000 people to click the link below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, where you can access thousands of classes in fields like visual art, motion graphics, music, and productivity. So click the link below to access my class for free and support the channel. Kanye's stem player has been around for a few months, but it hasn't seen too much attention outside of the hype factor from people sharing videos of it when Donda first came out last year. But it's been back in the news for the past few weeks because Kanye announced that the stem player would be the exclusive platform for his upcoming project Donda 2. This time around, Kanye is making the grand claim that he's going to give artists everywhere economic power and resources by creating a direct-to-consumer pipeline for music releases. And of course, he's emphasizing how much streaming is hurting artists. And Kanye has proved this point many times before. He's turned down crazy deals like a $100 million Apple exclusive for the release of a few albums. So let's talk about what the stem player actually is, what Kanye means when he says the music industry is hostile to artists, and why the stem player may or may not have a chance at changing everything. In my opinion, the stem player really isn't a versatile professional tool for a serious production, but at the same time, it's capable of creating interesting sounds in the hands of the right person. So I'm sure there are people out there making cool stuff with it, despite it not being a real pro tool. In terms of control, the stem player is just a small disc with 4 sliders and a button in the middle. It kind of looks like a Bluetooth speaker, but with each slider, you control a different stem of the music: vocals, drums, bass, and instrumentals. This noise isolation effect, plus various sound effects and loop controls, allows you to basically remix any song you put on the stem player. But despite its novelty, the stem player isn't going to replace your favorite DAW. While it works great with the songs that are pre-packaged from Donda, tech reviewers said that fairly stripped down hip-hop productions will do okay, but as the complexity of a song increases, the stem player starts to struggle parsing the different parts. That's because it uses AI algorithms to separate the stems. It's not magic, it's just working like a program such as Audacity or Adobe. It's a useful technology, but it's pretty simple and not really that accurate, and this sort of effect often destroys audio quality in the process of removing those background sounds. The reviewers at PC Mag wrote that while the stem player's features are pretty neat, the utility it brings to the table doesn't justify its price point. So overall, the stem player is a fun and novel way to listen to music, especially since you can basically use it as an MP3 player, but the stem player itself isn't going to be revolutionizing how artists actually make music. So how could what many people consider to be a fun gimmick go on to have a real impact on the music industry? To dive into the movement Kanye is trying to start here, you have to understand that streaming services pay frighteningly little to the artists. We've definitely talked about this before. I made a video called The Day Spotify Turned Evil about this very subject, and it's become common knowledge in the past few years that there is a big problem with streaming. On Spotify, artists are paid an average of $0.004 per stream, meaning they need to get 229 plays to earn $1. That's 3,000 Spotify streams for a Chipotle bowl, 15,000 streams to pay a New York City parking ticket, 25,000 streams for a new pair of Air Force Ones, so on and so forth. To put it simply, streaming doesn't pay enough. On Apple Music, where Kanye previously turned down that $100 million deal, artists are paid an average of $0.007 per stream, or 136 streams to reach $1. It is better than Spotify, but almost a penny per play isn't a meaningful amount. And the money the music actually earns gets filtered down through so many different middlemen like labels, publishers, distributors, before any is seen by the artists. Oftentimes, artists don't get paid for streaming at all. It's considered not to be part of their deal. I feel like I don't need to explain why this is terrible, how it's created an environment where even popular artists have to scrape by and scramble to establish alternative income streams, why it's not right for so little income to go to the ones responsible for the music in the first place, while the people who work at Spotify are making off like bandits. It feels pretty clear that this isn't right. But Kanye isn't the first artist to recognize this issue and act against it. As the problems with streaming fluctuate in and out of public consciousness, a few musicians have taken a stand, most notably Jay-Z when he launched his own streaming platform Tidal back in 2014, 8 years ago. Jay-Z's music wasn't available on any platform except Tidal until his 50th birthday back in 2019. And Kanye actually used to be a co-owner and shareholder in Tidal as well. He even released The Life of Pablo exclusively on the platform, but he later left his position in Tidal because of a financial disagreement with the board of directors. Today, Tidal is actually valued at almost $300 million. It's not bad for a niche streaming platform. But most importantly, Tidal pays artists $1 for every 80 streams, which means a lot more money goes to the musician than almost any other platform. 2 times more than Apple Music, 3 times more than Spotify, and 6 times more than YouTube. And for years, people like Taylor Swift resisted putting any of their music on Spotify. Taylor Swift talked about unfair treatment of artists and wouldn't include her music on Spotify until 2017, when it ended up appearing on the platform without so much as a statement. So what's so different about Kanye? Taking on the big money of the music industry is a daunting task, and we've seen just about everybody cave over time, but it seems like Kanye might have a plan. The $200 stem player is a bit of a stretch for most consumers, but this could really inspire people to follow his lead and make some serious change. Plus, he clearly doesn't need every single listener to buy it. It's not taking money out of his pocket when people pirate the album, because he's making millions of dollars a day off selling these objects. And if his goal is to continue making more money, his plan might be working. Before the release of Donda 2, Kanye posted the sales report for the stem player on Instagram. And if the numbers can be trusted, he sold a shocking amount of units. In the 24 hours between when he announced Donda 2 would only be available on the stem player and the post with the sales report, he sold 8,000 of these things, making over $2 million in just one day. He said in a caption of another post, "Songwriters have been really hurt by streaming platforms. Some say I'm the only one who can make the change. So as the leading innovator in music for the past 20 years, I'm putting my own work on the line to change things. I've already won by not being afraid to move." Like I mentioned earlier, it's not entirely clear if this is a real move on Kanye's part or it's just marketing vaporware. Is everyone who bought a stem player going to be regretful in a few weeks or a month when Donda 2 appears on Spotify overnight, a completely finished album? I mean, like I said, this has happened before with The Life of Pablo. Ye literally said The Life of Pablo is never going to be anywhere else but Tidal, but we know how that went. And the thing is, now the stem player costs 10 times more from the consumer's perspective. So that's how I'm kind of overall looking at this situation. Yeah, Kanye is making tons of money by generating hype for Donda 2, talking about transparency, artist rights, and this and that, but how long exactly will this last? Is this a real new movement for the industry growing right before our eyes? It's really hard to say, especially because of the fact that Donda 2 isn't a finished project right now. If you listen to it, it's actually pretty messy. And I'm kind of thinking, is he just using the stem player website as a place to post demos or post unfinished songs? Is he still even working on the album? Is Donda 2 just gonna fade away as the kind of most finished but still yet not finished at all Kanye failed album like TurboGrafx or Yandhi? It's a very strange situation because he already made all of his money, and at this point he could kind of just run off with it. But at the same time, from an artist perspective, this is an exciting moment to be in the music business, with Kanye suddenly championing artists' rights and honestly sacrificing a lot for it. $100 million from Apple is no joke, even for someone as successful as Ye. Whether or not this optimism is founded remains to be seen. Could just be another example of a billionaire making bold statements to cave on them later. Maybe he'll pull a Jay-Z and put Donda 2 on Spotify in April. It's easy to be cynical about things like this because generally individuals have a poor track record against multi-billion-dollar industries. But I like to think if anybody could take on streaming and give power back to the artists and put respect on the little guy's name, Kanye West might just be the one to do it. And by the way, speaking of supporting independent artists, I finally have a class on Skillshare teaching you about all my favorite techniques for editing and animating videos. So if you want to pursue something creative and meaningful and learn how to better express your thoughts and feelings through media, I highly recommend checking out Skillshare. I use Skillshare all the time to help brush up on my video editing and animation skills, and I honestly can't recommend it enough. Skillshare offers meaningful membership. There are many different avenues and techniques to explore for each subject, real projects to create, and a great community of people on their site. Their lessons can help you stay inspired, express yourself, and introduce you to a community of millions of users. And they have many interesting topics covered by industry professionals, from music production, audio engineering, motion graphics, graphic design, video editing, and photography, to business, and much more. Plus, Skillshare has no ads, and they're always launching new classes, including my own, where I teach my most basic, intermediate, and advanced techniques for making amazing animations in After Effects. So from making photos, videos, writing animations, and more, Skillshare has something for everybody. And last but not least, a premium annual membership with Skillshare is extremely affordable at less than $10 a month. So if you want to join Skillshare, check out my class and upgrade your skills. Get your free trial at the link in the description below. Clicking the link really helps support my channel.